is I'm going to have Derek hop on, and he's already on, but Derek's going to share his screen, and Derek's going to run this meeting today. And he's going to talk about how he's been finding leads and what he's found to be beneficial and the follow-up process and things of that nature to try and share some of his expertise and knowledge with you guys, to hopefully, be able to go out and find some more deals and find some more listings. What I'll do, Derek, if I can do it again, is I'm going to go ahead and allow you to share your screen. Do you need to share your screen?
I was about to say I actually don't have anything like typed up or anything. I was really just going to talk. Um,
Okay.
Honestly, I have a bunch of questions for the group
Okay.
because, well, we'll get into it in a minute.
Go ahead. No, go ahead and
Yeah,
take off.
let's get it started. All right, guys. Well, the first thing I want to say is that there is no secret answer. As much as I want to come in here and say that if you do this, you'll get leads, I can't because there is no one size fits all. Your lead generation needs to match you, who you are, what you like to do, and most importantly, your audience. So what you first need to think of is who are you going for, right? Let's say you're looking for seller leads. Well, it used to be pretty effective to just go knock on doors and find someone who needs to sell your house. The thing is, now it's COVID time. Knocking on doors is a little bit frowned upon. You still could if you wanted to, but I know I haven't opened the door to any door knockers in a while. So not quite as effective as it once was. Same thing with cold calling, just a general neighborhood. It's the same idea that maybe there is someone who can pull that off. I know I can't, right? I just don't have that voice on the phone. Someone who does really great over the phone, that at least from what I've heard, is Doreen. When she calls people, she has a really sweet voice, and people love it. And she gets a lot more interaction than I do when I go that route. So first thing, the first point is that you need to find something that works for you. And the way to do that, something that I did with Christian, somebody who I'm coaching right now, is we set up 4 hours a day for prospecting. And out of those 4 hours, each hour, I had him focus on a different mode of prospecting. So the first hour, he was supposed to add and message people on Facebook. Second hour, he was calling expired listings. Third hour, I believe, was delinquent on taxes. Fourth hour was his neighborhood, farming his neighborhood. And the point of the exercise was to see what works best for him. And it turns out for him, it's going after expired listings. I personally tried going after expired listings and didn't have much luck. And it's really, you just got to find the match between the type of person that you are, the personality that you have, and who would respond best for that. And people who are tired of the same old agents coming at them all aggressive and trying to steal the listing, he had a really good shot with because he's a good listener and a soft talker, and he has a couple listings in the pipeline from that just over the past week. So that's something that works really well for him. Something that's worked for me is a little bit unorthodox, but it proved to work for me. I put a couple hours into finding all of the iBuyers in the area, so people who were offering cash for ugly houses or whatever it was. Um, and I went through everyone who liked the post and everyone who commented. And I messaged them and said, hey, how did it go? When you sold your house to this group, how did it go? Were you satisfied? And by opening it up like that and showing them that I was interested in their experience, I got a really good response rate. And a lot of them sent me their address and said, oh, they offered me this much, but I was looking for this, right? Or whatever it may be. And you just carry on the conversation, tell them, well, there's comps in your area that could go for this, but if you're looking for an all cash buy, the reason they didn't buy is because here's how they break down the numbers. So if you wanted to sell it for all cash, a more realistic expectation would be this. And then, of course, oh, well, if that's not high enough, well, if what's important to you is how much you net, then maybe what you should do is put it on the market. If we put it on the market, these are the fees that come out, this is the commission structure, and at the end of the day, this is how much you make. And you just present them with options until they find the one that fits best for them. But really, at the end of the day, regardless where you're finding your leads, whether it's cold calling, whether it's expireds, door knocking, scavenging other people's ads like me, um, the important thing is that you talk to them, right? Don't talk at them. People are stuck on this idea of a listing presentation. And while that may work for some, if that works for you, go ahead. Um, that hasn't worked for me or any of the agents that I've dealt with. What does work is talking to them, being a real person, and trying to solve their problem. So you find out where the pressure points are, what their motivations are, and find the solution that's going to work best for them. So the most recent example I have of this is that listing I had on Holly Street. That started as I messaged him off of somebody else's iBuyer ad, and he said he wanted a ridiculous amount for it. And I said, you know, I'd be happy to list it for you at that amount, but I'm not a buyer at that price. And so we started talking. I'd follow up every week and see, you know, how he felt about it. And I hate to say lucky for me, but it was right around the beginning of the coronavirus. So he was a little spooked about the future of the value of his home. And I stayed completely honest with him. You know, a lot of people would have said, oh, it's definitely dropping value. You need to sell it now. Or some people would say you should just wait it out and see. I simply asked him, well, you know, well, what do you want to do? The truth is, none of us know the future of the market. I can show you this study that shows it's probably going to go up, and this study that swears it's going to go down. The truth is, we don't know. So, using the information we have today, what do you think would be the best option for you? And I ended up getting it under contract as a cash deal and tried to wholesale it. And I found a buyer, and it fell through at the last minute. And again, the key to saving this deal was just being a human with the guy. And I was like, you know, it's really unfortunate. I know that at the end of that deal, you were going to net this amount. If we were to list it at this amount, you would net the same thing. And you know, he was worried. Well, the tenants don't want anybody in there, so we found a way around it. You know, you can pay for a virtual tour, or we can put that in the agent remarks. If nothing else, you know, you can't tour it until there's an accepted offer. And sure, it slowed it down, but it closed. What was it? A week from yesterday, it closed, and I ended up, you know, with a pretty nice commission check off of it. So the key is just to be realistic with people, or be a real person, and find the people that respond to who the real version of you is. So tons of different ways to get leads. I personally, like I said, like leeching off of other people's Facebook ads. Everything you do, you should be posting somewhere, right? Whether your favorite social media is Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. If you were doing something, that is your best lead generation. Even if even if you're not closing the deal. The way that I started was I would just find the prettiest house in the neighborhood and go do a video walkthrough of it. That's honestly how I got Matt's attention to get onto this team. Was I was just putting my face out there, and that's worked for a few people that I know. They just go out there, and there's even been a time where I was out doing a video of a place, and somebody drives by and says, "Oh, are you selling this house?" And I didn't directly say no. I eventually told them, no, I'm not the listing agent. But my first thing was, do you want to come in and check it out? Right. And that turned into a buyer. So activity breeds leads. You know, you need to be active, absolutely. And, you know, like I said, a lot of my leads are coming from Facebook. A lot of people see being on Facebook as being counterproductive, but as long as you're intentional about the time that you spend on there, it can be a very productive activity. So I don't just get on and scroll, and I've been getting a little political lately, but I don't just, you know, spew out political shit. What I'm doing is looking for leads. I'll even search in the search bar, you know, anyone asking about homes, houses, real estate. I'll search every day and see if any of my friends are on that same page as me. And if so, I reach out. It's gotten to the point now where Facebook knows that. And if anyone's asking for a home or anything, it shows up at the top of my feed. You know, Facebook is doing me a favor by spying on me at this point. And same thing with the ads. I see almost nothing but iBuyer ads because I like them all. right? Because I interact with them all. So you're really creating your system there by what you do. You know, if the only thing you interact with is political stuff, that's all you're going to see. And it doesn't mean that that's the only thing people are talking about. It's Facebook trying to cater to what they think you like. So be intentional with everything you do. The most simple way, I think, for people to get free leads. So I know a lot of the people looking for leads right now aren't trying to spend money on ads, which, by the way, our Real Geek system is proven. You put in enough money in ads, you will get leads, and they do convert. Obviously, you have to do some follow up, but it is a proven system. If you want to pour in ad spend, it's a good place to do it. If you want to see more on that, check out last week's video. But if you want to get them for free, absolutely number one best way to do it is call everyone you have ever met. And it sounds corny at first. Be like, hey, I'm a realtor. Do you want to buy a house? Well, that's not how you do it, of course, right? You call them, you ask them how they've been, you know, what they've been up to, and eventually in that conversation, there's not a narcissist alive that's not going to ask you the question back and say, oh, what about you? What are you up to? And all you gotta say is, oh, I'm in real estate now. You know, I'm trying to find some more clients, going a little slow for me. And again, it comes from being honest with people. Um, and even if it's not going slow, I always tell people I could use more leads. And if I'm truly overwhelmed, I'll dish them out to someone on our team. But you know, there's always, always, always room for more leads. So call everyone. Let's say that you go into your phone book, your phone, and you have 600 contacts in there. Divide that out across 50 weeks. You need to be calling at least 12 of those people every week. Or really, you should be contacting these people at least twice a year. Really, quarterly would be best, but let's say twice a year. So call 24 people in a week. Divide it out across 5 days, you're making 5 calls a day to people that you know. Does that sound like it's unreasonable? No, of course not. You know, take a couple hours tops. But when you're talking to these people, make sure you focus on what's important to them, right? There was something that I learned in a selling course called Ford. When you're talking to someone, you bring up their family, you ask about their occupation, their recreation, and their dreams. So, hey, how are the kids? Oh, great. You know, they talk about that for a little while. How's the job going? You know, are you working from home now? Let them talk about that for a while. Well, you still got time on the weekends, right? You still like to go jet skiing or whatever, you know, that person likes to do. And then at the end, of course, their dreams. And this, especially with our team, is where it gets fun because most people's dreams is to be able to passively live, right? They want to create something to where they don't have to work all the time. Oh, I want to be on the beach somewhere, right? I want to retire by the time I'm 40. Well, you know, I've been working with a few investors, and if anyone's going to retire by the time they're 40, it's going to be them, right? If you wanted to get into that, you should join in one of our meetings. We give out free trainings on this every week. Or, you know, let's sit down and talk about how much you have to invest and what your goals are and set up a plan to achieve them, right? But always make it about them and how you can contribute value to them. And I assure you, like the conversions are going to go through the roof. And another very important thing that I focused on last week is even if they're not a hot lead, don't just disregard them because eventually either they will move, they will invest, or somebody very close to them will. So if you get on the phone, you ask them all these questions, and at the end of the day, you're like, you know, I'm a realtor. You got anyone who I can help out? And they say, no, sorry, not right now. A lot of people are like, well, fuck this guy. I'm never calling them again. That's not what you should do. You should set up a follow up for 3 months, 6 months in the future to call them again and do the exact same thing, and see if anything's changed. And even if not, just be a decent person, right? People love getting these calls from me, and I'm not the friendliest person in the world, you know, but they still love and appreciate every time that I call them. So um, do that, and it doesn't take long. Really, for me, especially after the first go around, they kind of you know, I'm just checking on you, seeing if there's anything I can do to help. The calls get shorter, so calling 5 people a day will take an hour. You know, if you can't sacrifice an hour to building your business, then what are you really doing here? So I think that if you are struggling with leads, or you could use more, which I think is everybody, set aside however much time you can. I think at least 4 hours period for everyone. 4 hours is doable, because regardless how busy I am, I can knock out all those follow-ups and showings and contracts in 4 hours. And working an 8-hour day, the other 4 hours I should be prospecting. Um, and for people who don't have a lot of leads and it doesn't take 4 hours to follow up, you should be prospecting 8 hours a day. If you don't have any leads, you should be prospecting 8 hours a day and trying to find leads, because that's where the business comes from. And again, you got to focus on who your desired audience is. Filling the pipeline is so critical. That's very true. And you can meet people who you're like, okay, they're gonna buy in like 3 months, so I'm gonna call them in 3 months. No, 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 no. Send them an email every 2 weeks up until that point, and make sure that when they're ready to make that move, you're the one that they're gonna be in contact with. Um, I personally focus on investments, so I spend about 30 minutes a day going through all of the new listings on the MLS, all of the price reduced, all of the back on markets. And it's gotten to the point now where I simply click new, hit map, and I know the areas pretty well. So if I'm scrolling over all of them, I'm like, 250 in this neighborhood, that's probably a good deal, right? You can see that, versus certain neighborhoods, even 200 is it's nothing special, right? So I really like the map for that feature, because you can see where that deal is at and if it makes sense in that area. But I found a few that way. Honestly, I'm under contract for one right now. I found it. It was selling from an estate, and I made an offer for myself, and or signs, of course. And I was going to sign it out to an investor. And we looked at the numbers, and now we're going half on it. But if I didn't find it on the first day, it wouldn't have been mine. They got 5 offers on the first day. And what I did was submitted the offer, called the guy and said, hey, I want to be the last person you talk to before you go to the attorney. And he said, all right, man, well, I'm meeting with them on this day at this time. I didn't wait for him to call me. I called him an hour before that and found out, where we at. And he told me very honestly, dude, sorry, somebody beat you. They beat you by this much. He probably shouldn't have, but he told me by how much they beat me. I said, give me 10 minutes. And went and typed a new contract and secured that deal. And now I'm closing on it a week from today. The numbers look great, absolutely. And not if, but when I pull this off, this is my first deal with a very, I don't want to say wealthy, but the guy has money. All right. And so if I pull this off, this will be the first of many that I sell to him or buy with him. And when you're going half with somebody on a property and you're getting a commission out of it, it kind of evens out because you are doing more work. But you can get into deals with a lower upfront cost than most people can. So just see who's open to it. Try to help. Honestly, one of the best things I've done in lead generation recently is I posted on Facebook, who wants to go half on a fixer upper. Did the post go viral? No, but did I get 4 or 5 messages from people with money who don't know what to do with it? Yes. Did I end up going half on a property with someone? Yes. Did I end up creating 3 different LLCs, going 50-50 with potential buyers? Yes. So it's just put yourself out there. Always focus on how you can help other people, and I assure you it'll come back. But you need to be intentional with your time. You need to come from value, and you cannot give up. Those are really just the 3 things. Regardless of how you're getting these leads, you follow those 3, you will convert to something. I haven't checked the chat at all, so let me see if we got any questions in here. So Dorian says, I had a big presentation for my listing appointment and he was not interested in it at all. Just wanted to sit and drink a beer and chat and got the listing. That is a perfect example, because a lot of people would have heard, oh, he doesn't want to list. I struggle to not curse in certain situations. Forget him, right? But But you're like, oh, let's drink a beer and talk about it. You know, she didn't give up. She stayed focused on what he wanted, which was, to sit down and have a beer, apparently. And it turned out that, they come around. It's just you get somebody on the phone and they feel like you're a robot, you're just a businessman, you're just there to make money off of them. You can't expect them to sign something like that, right? Keep giving them value. Stay in front of them. Keep showing them different things in the market, and eventually they'll come around. And a lot of times it does take going and sitting down with them and having a beer. I was friends with this guy he's a engineer for the Google building downtown, and I mean I send him deals all the time. I don't even think he opens it, but I invited him out on a boat cruise that I went on for my birthday, and we had a few drinks, and turned out he was very interested. He's just not big on email, right? He just doesn't like talking on the phone. He's like, no, we need to sit down and figure this stuff out. And now that's one of the LLCs I have set up is 50-50 with him. He puts in the upfront cost. He gets that first money back. We split the profits afterwards. So, you don't need to have a bunch of money to start investing as long as you're presenting it as value to somebody who you could partner with in order to make it happen. See what else we got on here. I get more callbacks on postcards and letters I mail now that I'm in Tree Homes. They search the company online. Yeah, that's huge. Honestly, the whole reason I've been able to do almost anything is by using the Tree Homes name. You've had a great team ahead of you. We've stacked up a ton of reviews. Use that to your advantage. Absolutely. Every time, I haven't gotten a ton off of these, I'm not gonna lie, but those posts on like people of Round Rock or whatever, I'm looking for a realtor. And hundreds of people come in. I don't comment, right? I'll like it, I'll add them, and I send them a message and I say, hey, I know you're being bombarded. I encourage you to look up every one of these brokerages. I personally work with Tree Homes. I would love to help you. Here's my contact info. Let me know once you've done your research. And that's worked for me. When I'm competing with 100 people who have more experience than me, honestly, I haven't even been in this for 2 years. They have more experience than me, but it doesn't matter because I'm leaning on the strength of the brokerage, which I encourage all of you to do. Let's see what else we got. The long game. It's hard to understand that when you haven't seen it work. But what's harder to understand is when you mess it up. So I've met a lot of people and forgot to put them in my database or drip campaigns or follow up with them. And by the time I do get back to them, they're like, oh, dude, I forgot about you. I just bought a house last month. Or, I ended up going with this person or whatever it may be. That shit hurts. That shit hurts because all it would have taken is 2 phone calls in between your first meet and that time to make them comfortable enough to go with you. And by neglecting to do those phone calls, you basically just lost that commission. So we're coming up on 11. Let's go ahead and open it up for any questions, or if you feel like you have a lead generation that works and other people could benefit from it, let's hear them.
Everybody can go ahead and unmute yourselves and ask any questions or share your experience on this.
Hey, I just want to jump in here real quick. I literally just got a lead in the last 2 minutes. I had a realtor call me yesterday and said that they're having a nightmare with one of their tenants, and they're just having a hard time getting them out of the house. So they asked me to help. There's really nothing in it for me, but I called the tenant and kind of played middleman, and they really like me. And they're like, today they just texted me. They're like, hey, we want to get out of this lease. Thank you for helping us, but we also want to buy a house in the next couple weeks.
Nice.
And I was like, hey, I'd love to help you. And so just right there. And the point was, you can get leads from anywhere. They come from all places, and it's really cool when you jump in to help out and add value, and then it comes around. So that's just one small example. It literally happened in the last 5 minutes.
Nice. Yeah, I had I was on some Facebook group and someone was asking about joining into real estate, and I told her to message me, so we could talk about it. And some guy gets on there being a real jerk, and he's like, I don't understand why people do that. If you have something to contribute, put it out here. What are you hiding? You know, and pretty apprehensive. And I just kept it cool. And I was like, honestly, it's not for everyone. I just wanted to see if she was a good fit beforehand. But here's what I was going to tell her. I put it out there. And that person is now a good friend of mine. We have an LLC together, and he has the money and the credit for us to buy a property as soon as we find the right one for him. So it comes around. You know, it might not be what you set out to do, but you stay positive, you stay putting out value, it'll happen.
And another thing, you know, people always want things to happen right away. This is just a small example, but back when I was doing commercial real estate, I would be tasked with the goal of going and getting the sales numbers from certain restaurants. So Chili's, for example, they say, go into that Chili's and find out how much money they make every year. And that's something that you can do. It's not easy, but what I would do is I would go in there and I would meet the manager, and I wouldn't ask for the sales numbers. I would ask for the sales numbers the second time I went there. And it's just like putting it into perspective, like, you're building relationships here. You can't just come in, you know, guns hot, trying to get what you want right away. And if you don't get it, get discouraged. Like, you've got to step back and say, let me try a different approach and maybe go at this 2 or 3 times. And the second time the manager knew me, and I would eventually get the sales numbers and be like, hey man, how's this restaurant do? Like, what do you guys do in sales per week? And then I could figure it out. So that's just another approach to have.
Doreen says Wednesdays are her self-promotion day. She hands out cards and talks to everyone she meets, dropping off kids at real estate, pumping gas, paying the attendant. So pretty much everyone. And that's genius, you know, because they don't think you're there for business, and you're not. But this needs to be who you are. And if this is who you are, it'll start coming out so naturally. You put a couple of drinks in me and throw me in a bar, I'm convincing someone to buy some real estate and invest.
Well, and you know, the cool thing, like Derek, you said, I mean, we have knowledge and insight into something that, like, we actually believe in. We're not really trying to sell you something just to sell it. Like, there's a reason why we all do this. We all believe in it. We all love it. And so when you're passionate about it and you see it, like, it's fun when you realize, like, you're not even selling. You're actually truly offering them an opportunity and an insight, because a lot of people don't think about this or see it or realize that this is a great way to change your life. And we have that knowledge to show that to them.
Absolutely. And you'll naturally get more passionate about it over time. You know, at first it felt like I was kind of forcing it. You know, like, oh yes, buying real estate is very good, right? But naturally you start getting more comfortable, and they can feel the confidence. And if you believe it and you present it to them confidently, they'll believe it. And it's not like you're lying to them. You know, you're trying to set up long-term. You're trying to set up long-term relationships, and it works. You know.
Hey, Doreen. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I put my ass on the line with this last one. You know, I put in pretty much everything I had saved to go half with this guy, knowing that it will work. And once it does work, I'm gonna sell this guy 10 plus properties, or partner with him on them all. So yeah, the first step is believing in it.
Doreen, can you hop on real quick and talk and just share about, you know, a couple minutes of all the ways you're out looking for deals and listings? Like, today was self-promotion Wednesday. Are you able to talk? She said just a minute. All right. Anybody else have any experience on some ways that they found beneficial? I think one of the most important things that Derek touched on today was the fact that in everything he talked about, he was talking about how important the follow-up is, and how important it is to stay in front of these leads, how important it is to build these relationships, how important it is to not go in looking what you can get out of it, but how you're able to help this person and how you're able to provide value.
Absolutely.
do we have any other questions? What did
Oh,
go
this
ahead.
is Doreen. Sorry, my phone wasn't letting me unmute. I kept trying to unmute and it just kept disappearing. But yeah, like on my self-promotion Wednesdays, it's like I'm just trying to talk to everybody that I can, you know, like I dropped off my kids this morning, the daycare worker. I'm like, hey, how are you? Da, da, da. Here's my card. If you know anyone, any family members that are looking to buy, sell, lease a home or an apartment, you know, there's lots of kids and their moms and dads that are coming in and out, you know, and if you send me a referral, I can give you a $25 gift card, you know, and so, you know, next thing you know, I go get gas. I'm pumping gas. I go inside. I'm talking to that agent. I'm at work today. Every nurse, every therapist, everyone that I talk to, I'm giving a card. Do you know about the Home for Heroes program? You're a nurse. You can get, you know, down payment assistance. This is every Wednesday. I just, like, in the morning, I put the cards in my scrubs, and like all day, by the end of the day, all my cards should be gone. And, you know, I have a person right now here that works with me at the hospital. I put her house under contract. I have another person that's going to be applying. She wants to buy her first home. You just never know what someone here, you know, someone you work with is going through, or if they're thinking about buying. Another person said, oh yeah, at the end of summer, we want to sell our current house and then buy another house. I'd love to help you with that process, you know? So it's just always talking about real estate, always trying to, you know, I printed out information, you know, of course, approved by my supervisor, that I could put in our break room about the Home for Heroes program. And if you're looking for down payment assistance, contact Doreen. She works here and she's a realtor, you know, so just communicating with everyone what your vision is and what you're trying to achieve. I also, you know, talk to other wholesalers, network with them. You know, if you have a deal that is not a wholesale deal and the person just wants to list it, send them my way. I can give you, you know, a gift card. You know, that's how I got the referral for the listing that I just got. You know, it was a wholesale deal. The numbers didn't work, but I'm going to list it, you know. So, you know, it's all just, to me, it's just communicating, talking, making friends, making sure you're always there, and making sure people always know about your business.
Thank you, Dorian. We got a few minutes left. Do y'all have any questions for Derek about what he talked about? You can type it in the chat. You can unmute yourself and chime in. Anything you're struggling with finding leads?
Hey, Derek, just like a general question for the future. How much is it to start an LLC in Texas?
It is a $300 filing fee. After taxes, it's like $308 or $310 or so. Alex is actually the one who sent me the instructions on how to set it up. You know, Felix actually just messaged me and asked the same thing. Alex, do you want to share that link to the video that you had sent me?
Yeah, I can share it with everybody in here. It's pretty simple. You know, everybody tries to make it seem very complicated, and if you type it in on Google, there's a whole bunch of services that are going to try and sell you to set it up for you. But if you're just doing a very simple LLC, it's extremely simple to do. It takes maybe 25 minutes to do. It costs like $308.67. And I can share that information with you guys. And to do it properly and like set up a bank account, or if you're using it to buy property, lenders are going to want to see an EIN, an operating agreement, and the formation docs. And all this is free, and you can get it. You have easy access to it yourself. And I can share all that info with you guys.
Hey, Alex, this is Felix.
Hey, Felix.
Hey, what I was more curious about is, I guess, the wording for, I don't know if it has to be in the operating agreement or where, but the wording for like a partnership, if there's like a template that y'all are using.
Yeah, so I put all that in the operating agreement. Your partner, if they're going to be a member of the LLC, will be on there. But I don't go into, you know, percentages or amounts bought into the company on the LLC. All that will be stated in the operating agreement, at least the way that I do it.
Right. Okay. And do y'all have a template for that you're willing to share?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It comes with a video that kind of walks you through like which blanks to fill in and kind of how to do it. But each person's exact wording should be a little bit different. But that the video that he sent was very informative, and
Yeah, another thing I want to say about that is this is a very simple and basic operating agreement template. And it's something that I use with like Matt, for example. But if I was getting into a very complex deal or getting into, agreement with partners that I wasn't so familiar with and have known for 15 years, uh, depending on what you want in it, I would always suggest that getting legal advice and having a lawyer draft one up may be the better option.
Okay, I appreciate the advice.
You're welcome, man. Anybody else have any other questions? We got about 3 minutes left. Derek, you want to share your quick 3-minute bullet points of best ways to find some deals?
Yeah. Again, it's not really something that's going to fit everybody, but find out that, really introspect and see what type of person you are. How do you come off to people? What kind of people will respond to that? Or if you want to start on the other foot, think about who you're targeting and how to kind of tone your message to fit them to where they would, if you were in their shoes, would you go for it, right? Or what would it take for you to earn your trust if you were them? The most important thing is always follow up. If you can automate it, if you're on the Real Geek system, then you don't have to worry about it. It's doing it for you. And really any CRM should have some sort of automation to it. And just try different things. Like I said, what worked with Christian isn't what worked with me. And we had to discover that by a little bit of trial and error. I said, put an hour into this, put an hour into this, put an hour into this. And we just reconvened the next week and saw, what converted and what didn't. So if you're struggling to get leads, I would say set up at least four different ideas, commit an hour to each every day for at least a week, and then see what works for you, put all into it, and always introspect. If you go on an appointment, whether it goes good or bad, introspect, think, okay, what could have been better? What would have saved the deal? What did they like? And make sure that your next meeting, you use what you learned from the last one.
And don't get discouraged. Keep pushing. Every time I about get discouraged doing something, there's a deal or an opportunity right around the corner. And if I would have quit, I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity.
Yep.
All right, guys, thank you very much for joining. We'll post this video and I'll send you guys the links for the operating agreement. The LLC, I'll send you a link of how to do that too, but you basically just follow the instructions on the Secretary of State website. But hope y'all have a good week. Let us know if y'all need anything. Always reach out. We're here to help. Go find some new leads. See y'all on Friday.